Hello, I'm Kathy Horn. This is my case study project for the ELPA 6872 course, Dr. Jason Horn instructor. My case study actually involves an intervention proposal. It covers a paper that I submitted for a course about a year ago regarding faculty academic advisement of students over 60 hours and in keeping with FERPA regulations. So I'm going to be following my notes because it helps as a guide is what I'm trying to say. The whole point, there are 2 points, there have been many times when students have come into our office, students that are at junior and sometimes even senior rank, who think they're ready to graduate and have not been because they've been either misadvised or not advised at all. So that was part of the proposal of the paper, is to assure that students do get that faculty advisement, because after 60 hours they wouldn't normally go to our case office, which is the academic advisement office for the College of Arts and Sciences. 2, we had a student several years ago who was requesting his academic advisement records that were covered under FERPA. And at that time, I wasn't sure exactly what he meant. I had gotten him all the records that we had, his intent to graduate, program of study, those type of paper records. But when I dug into the system a little deeper, I realized there was no recorded record of advisement meetings, which was what he was looking for when he was transferring out of ETSU. It didn't go very far, and he understood that we did not have those records available. But that's at the time that I did find out that indeed those advisement meetings need to be recorded into our banner system in the Internet Native Banners section, or INB, in an area called Space Mountain. So I'm going to kind of back up, and first let's cover what exactly FERPA is. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act allows the right to inspect and review the student's educational records within 45 days of the university receives a request for access. Regulations: students are to be given access to all their records, including records of advisement. These advisement sessions are assumed to be recorded by faculty and staff advisors in a section of Banner INB, and training for academic advisors, in the training for undergraduate academic advisors. It allows the faculty and other academic advisors to post personal comment, advisement documentation, course substitutions, general education exceptions, block transfer evaluations, and inter-course waivers. So, what does all this mean, and where am I going with this? It's very easy for students to feel that they don't need advising, especially when they get to an upper level, such as over that 60-hour time limit. Sometimes it becomes a lot harder to connect with a faculty member, track that faculty member down. Often the faculty member is overwhelmed with their classes and their research, and it's hard to kind of create that time when sufficient advisement can be done. And they may not always think firsthand about recording each advisement session. However, this is a regulation. We do need to have those records of those advisement systems so that both the faculty member and the student can go back to check to make sure that they're on track for graduation. And of course, DegreeWorks is a huge help, but still having that written record of those meetings is very important. As said, it's part of FERPA regulations. So what I would propose, and this is it's kind of, I guess, new, maybe a new idea I'll start with the banner system. From what I understand from OIT, banner is just this massive system. It hasn't even begun to be programmed for all of its capabilities. Now, we know that most students, when they're prior to registering for class, have an advisement hold under the banner self-service section. Faculty members click on a button to remove that advisement hold after students have done their advisement. What I would propose is that just to assure each step of the advisement process and FERPA compliance, is that a control be implemented into the banner system, whereas when faculty and students have an advisement meeting, at that time that faculty member enters those notes into the banner system under Space Mountain, or if it could be implemented, even do it into the self-service section of banner. The student and faculty review those notes, review the kind of mapping of classes as to what they need to take and when they need to take those. When they agree to what had happened during the advisement meeting, the faculty member then enters that into Space Mountain, and that time, that was when the advisement hold would be released for the student to register on the faculty end. What would have to happen in addition is that the student would also have to agree to those advisement sessions in the same area, either in INB or in self-service banner, before they would be able to register for classes. Faculty would not be able to release that advisement hold due to that control put in banner. They would not be able to release that advisement hold until there was something entered into the advisement notes section of Internet Native Banner. Students would not be allowed to register until they had agreed to the advisement meetings, and then is when that advisement hold would be released. So it's kind of like a two-part system. Does it take a little more time? It would. It's adding a couple of extra steps, but in doing that, it means those advisement records are there for either the faculty member or the student to review at any time. So there wouldn't be any second guessing down the road of a faculty member saying, well, I told you this, and the student said, no, well, I heard that. So it kind of, you can open that up and say, this is what we agreed to, this is what I said, this is what you agreed to. So anyway, to make a long story short, which I guess is, I've probably gone on longer than I should, but in concluding, I'd just like to read that we know students can often feel intimidated by faculty and may mistakenly conclude that their instructors have very little desire to interact with them. Working within an academic environment, I've heard my faculty express the concerns of unwillingness of students to touch base with them, to contact them with course issues. The need of advisement is one of the ways of closing the gap between instructor and student. It should not be viewed, as it generally can be, as a means of hand-holding or coddling students. Instead, it should be considered as a means of assurance that their instructor is concerned about their academic goals, and that their instructor is knowledgeable regarding classes and future aspirations. It increases the development of absolute interaction between the student and the faculty. Thank you.